Hello, everybody. Welcome to Aces Up Podcast, Episode 6. Tonight, I am joined by a fellow high-stakes player, a very good friend, Kentucky native, Joey Brown. The low-volume savage, as I like to call him, because he plays a couple of leagues and he wins them, usually. So, what's up, Joe? How you doing today?
Doing great. Doing
Nice.
really good. Glad to be on here. Appreciate you having me on here.
Absolutely. I'm glad you made yourself available to be on because there was a chance there wasn't going to be a show tonight. I thought, I misread the dates and I didn't book a guest. I'm on vacation next week, not this week. I got to get better at the schedule and stuff. I've made a couple of errors already in my time as a podcaster with scheduling. So I definitely need to get my ass in gear on that one. But I'm glad you can make it. We do have JD coming on once we get through your personal background, fantasy background, accomplishments part of the interview. JD's already gone through this. This is a Joe Carlton sports affiliation thing. It's an initiation. You get on here first time as a guest. We're gonna let the audience know a little bit more about you, and it's also good for me. A lot of the guests that I don't know or know personally, I get to learn a little bit more about them as well. So it's a pretty cool part of doing this. So Joe, why don't we start with talking a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do for work, any hobbies you have outside of fantasy football, any activities you participate in. Share whatever you like.
Yeah, I grew up in Southeast Kentucky. I worked for Pepsi. Been there almost 17 years.
What do you do for Pepsi?
I'm a vending technician. I work out like on the fountain machines that you all would eat at Taco Bell.
Nice. Which is very important in Kentucky, I bet, because it's a lot of that area that is rural. It's not like there's food places on every corner like there is where I live.
No, it's very rural. I mean, I might go from one place 30 minutes to an hour to my next location, next place I have to go to work. So there's definitely a lot of podcasts and stuff being streamed inside my Pepsi van when I'm driving from one location to the next.
What's up, Jamie? Appreciate you joining, man. Pepsi is better than Coke. Oh, I don't know. It depends on what we're talking. I like Coke Zero. Maybe Pepsi with the sugar is better than Coke. But I believe
my girlfriend likes Coke a little bit better too. But I won't hold that against her.
Nah. At our level, so I work for a beverage company too, but at our level, it's us against the store. It's not Coke against Pepsi.
No, I know they're out there trying to make a living just like I am. I have to have that money to play fantasy football too, so we have to do what we can do.
All right, so give us some hobbies. Talk about your hobbies.
I collect a lot of sports cards, football, baseball, golf, even golf. I've got into golf. I don't play golf. I used to, but I don't anymore. But I collect a lot of golf cards. And big Scotty Scheffler fan. So,
nice.
And then the other hobby, like after football season's over, I was like, well, I've got to, some people just go into drafting right after the playoff season format. I quit. And then I go start drafting a few NFBC. I play a little bit of baseball, fantasy champs baseball leagues, just to let the mind regroup. I mean, how such a grind in the leagues that we play in, and JD, who's coming on, what he plays in. I mean, we play against the very best of the best, and it's a weekly. NFL's weekly goes week by week anyway, so you never know what to expect, and just like working the wire, it's a grind.
All right, so what year did you start playing fantasy football? And why don't you tell us, if you can remember, tell us about your first
I've got a little bit of story here. I started playing in 2007, hometown league, and actually in Knott County, which Rebecca's from Knott County, and played in 2007. First ever pick. It was a 14-team league, so I had no clue how deep of a format this was. And everybody said, I was asking questions like, when do you draft a quarterback? Oh, you have to wait. So my first pick ever was Frank Gore. So on the turn, I said, I got to have my favorite player. And lo and behold, it was Tom Brady who threw 50 touchdowns that year.
Oh yeah, Joe.
So I got beat up, I think, in the I made it to the semifinals or the finals. So I started doing that, and then I got hooked. Played a lot of free leagues. Started buying every magazine coming and going. I played in the Roto Bowl. Then I played in the FFOC, which is the Fantasy Football Open Championship, was a $1 million contest, which I was not really that good then. I was just learning it. And
right. Absolutely. We all have that phase.
So then I started understanding the concept. So 2012 was a difference maker for me. I won, finished 6th overall in the football guys tournament, FFPC format. Finished 6th overall.
Nice.
And then that same year I won
What'd you get for that? What do you get for that?
7,000. I won 7,000. And I ended up winning like 8,500 that year. I won like a FFWC playoff format league title. And then I won NFLC top 3 150. That was my first NFLC league I really played in. So
nice. All right.
So then
keep going.
2018, it really started clicking for me. And I know everybody out here is going to think it's crazy, but I only had one entry into the NFLC online championship. Finished won the consolation round, and that was $5,000 hit. So then it started clicking. It started clicking on how I like to draft, which we'll get into that. And so I done that. And then 2020 was difference maker. And, I got to give a shout out to Mom and Dad. They was one who helped me get into my first ever NFLC primetime. And lo and behold, I won it and finished 7th overall, won 10,000 that year.
Nice.
And then 2021, I won a Silver Bullet League championship. And then 2023, I won my second primetime and my second Silver Bullet in the same league, same year. So I had a great season that year.
The silver bullet, for people who are unfamiliar with it, it's a single entry only format, so you can only enter one time. It's capped. It was capped at 240. Did they increase that, Joe? Is it 252 now? Or 260?
So.
Or it might even be 260.
Maybe 15 or 16 leagues.
Yeah, it's very limited. It's only 250 entries. And the overall prize is the first place takes it down $50,000. It's a $1,200 buy-in.
I think it's still $5,000 for league prize now too.
$5,000 for first. When it first came out, it was only $4,000 for first, but now it's $5,000 for first.
Yeah.
Joey is from Joey is from Kentucky. If you missed the beginning part of the show, we already got through that. He's from Southeast Kentucky, right?
Southeast, around a place called Prestonsburg, Kentucky. I pretty well, when I say Paintsville, I'll probably be moving to Paintsville, Kentucky soon. So, which is hop, skip, and jump from where it's at. So it's southeast where we're at.
All right. So we know that you play low volume. How many teams do you usually run each year? What's your plans this year?
Probably, I've got 3 as of right now. Maybe do 4. That's about all I do, because it's just, it's all process. We first draft, we work the wire, get our team set up. I mean, it's just
you like to have all the focus on the teams. You don't want to miss anything by having too much.
Right. And if you get too many, I mean, a lot of respect to some of these high stake players out there that plays in a lot of them. I probably would too if I could afford it, but it's not a cheap hobby that we play in.
All right. So you play in Scott Fish. Tell us about how many years you've been involved in that. If you got a draft going on right now, tell us about how that's going.
Yeah, I just made 2 picks before we came on the air. I've actually got, of course, I took Josh Allen number 1. Came back, took Bo Nix, who I like.
You had the 101 and you took a quarterback?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Joey.
Well, then I took Ladd McConkey and DJ Moore. So, but It's all about charity. I really don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, I want
yeah.
to be good, but if I
Josh
don't, I'm
Allen's
just
your guy. So I get it.
yeah.
I get it.
He's the man.
Yeah. Nice. How long have you been in Scottish? How many have you been a part of?
I'm gonna say at least 4 or 5. I think I
Nice.
made it to the final weekend once, not on the championship side of things, but I did make it to the last weekend one year. I can't remember what year it was. I've probably been in there at least 4 or 5
Nice.
straight years, probably.
And you've never done a live event being in
No,
Kentucky. Yeah.
that's what I
We
was
got to get
talking.
you up. We got to get you up to Boston next year.
I was telling Rebecca, I said we need to go out to New York. I said that's where I want to go to. I like to go out to Chris
Oh,
Viccaro's bar and
yeah.
see all them guys that I like really well, and then meet up with you. And like I said, I look up to a lot of these guys who play in the NFLC.
Yeah, me too.
They're
Me
some
too.
of my favorite people.
I just talked to Frank Mamola today for the first time via DM. I
Great
was
guy.
trying. Yeah,
We talk sometimes.
He's awesome.
He's a good guy.
He's helping his. He's. I thought he might have been part of the draft tonight. Billy. NFFC is live streaming a draft. They're mad. Billy's mad. I didn't hop in, but we had to do the show.
Yeah,
So
he
I
wanted
could.
me in there too, but
Yeah.
I just went off just a little bit.
But so we'll check it. We'll check out how that draft's going once the show's over. So your favorite NFL team, Buffalo Bills, correct?
Oh yeah, I liked them back when they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row when they had Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith. I always liked Buffalo, and
So
I became a Josh Allen fan.
So
Yeah.
20 plus years, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like the Bengals a little bit from being around here, but I'm a Buffalo fan through and through. But after you get to fantasy, first I was telling her, I said, once you
Speaking
get
of
to
the Bengals,
yeah. once you get to fantasy football, you really don't. I don't watch a lot of. I mean, I watch football. I don't watch a lot of games. I mean, Monday night.
You don't really root for somebody, right?
Besides Buffalo, and like I said, I usually watch Red Zone on Sundays. It's perfect for fantasy players,
Nice. All right, so give us a brief outlook on on their 2025 in your eyes. Well, how are they going to do? They're gonna win a division. Yeah,
I think they would. They should. They should.
Yeah.
I mean, New England's going to be better. Miami's just based on Tua.
Right.
And the Jets I don't know about the Jets. They could be good. I mean, Justin Fields is good. They've got talent. It's good, but their defense, they underwhelmed. I don't know. It's a fun division. It should be a good fantasy division for a lot of players for us to draft when it comes down to it.
Nice. Obviously, you're in on paying top price for Josh Allen. You took him 1-on-1. I've been arguing that I'm kind of fading him this year. I know it sounds stupid, but
no, it really don't. And the reason why I say that,
it's the ADP or the ADP. You know what I mean?
We can talk that. Let's throw this out there. Prime time, NFLC prime time. I would probably be more apt for a Bo Nix for a balanced roster. But now, if you give me the Silver Bullet League, I might pull up a Lamar and I might pull up a Josh Allen quick because it's all about points. I don't really care about win loss record. If you can get the most points, it basically, if you go prime time, you like to be balanced. Good running backs, solid running backs.
With some unique upside to it because it's a deeper contest tournament.
Right. Yeah. I like to be balanced because wins and losses mean more to you in the NFLC prime time than they do Silver Bullet.
Right.
And plus the online championship is kind of a balanced format too, because you need to get first or second. But now the Silver Bullet's just a different format. I mean, you've played it yourself.
Yeah. It pays 3 spots and it's total points.
And if you could get 500 points out of your quarterback,
and it's also only 240 entries as opposed the prime time is usually like 1,200, 1,500 entries.
Probably.
And the online championship is like 4,000 or 5,000 entries.
Yeah, it's
So having the high end quarterback certainly can pay off if you pick the right one.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. You don't have to get so creative and unique with your builds and go for balance. You can go for what's going to win your league and get you into that shootout where there's going to be only 25 to 35 teams to beat out for 50K. So yeah.
That's just like we talked the other night. Let the listeners to get an idea of how this works. I want to say 2021. I flipped the board. I was either number 1 or 2 pick. I cannot remember, but I was the only team out of the 14 teams that took Devontae Adams at 2. So I flipped the board. I mean, that's what I feel comfortable doing. Like, you want to be unique. I didn't want to be chalk in the silver bullet.
Right.
I mean, that many leagues, I was like, well, if I have the same number 2 pick as everybody else, what good am I going to be? So I flipped it, and luckily, I won that league that year. Devontae Adams was a beast, as usual.
He was a beast. Down the stretch, he was absolutely he stole my primetime title away. I was in first place for 14 weeks, Joe, my very first primetime entry. In the last week, he scored like a 39 or something, and the guy behind me that was in second place moved ahead of me. I mean, it's my own fault. I didn't prepare. I didn't add depth throughout the season, and I was relying on how good my team was doing the first few weeks, and then it kind of things happened. Antonio Brown trotted off the field. Adam Thielen went down. And you know how Tom Brady performed in the shootout weeks that year. It wasn't
good. Absolutely. Yeah. That's like my good friend, Tommy LaBrady. He won the silver bullet that year, that overall and the primetime. But the year that he won it, I had like 2,200 some points. And the next people was like 2,100, but they bumped you up in the shootout. In week 15, I had Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans.
And they stunk. Yeah, they were.
New Orleans beat like 38-3, and I was like, I got steamrolled, and I learned a valuable lesson right there too. I said I'll never go 3-player deep anymore, and as
on a
you might have them on the bench, but
two is good. You're right. Two very rare there's a call for 3. I feel like it has to be the tight end. If you're doing 3, it's got to be the tight end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So the pass catches for the Buffalo Bills. Let's get back on the Buffalo Bills.
Khalil Shakir is the real sure thing. But the most intriguing player to me, everybody's going to say Keon Coleman, which I like Keon Coleman. He's going to be an intriguing player. Everybody's looking to break out. But to me, for them to make it next jump, maybe into the AFC title game or make a run, and he's basically free in these drafts as Dalton Kincaid. I mean, he went from 70-some catches down to 40-some receptions. What are we going to get from him this year? And then, in best ball formats, I would probably take a shot on Josh Palmer late. I mean, he's maybe not redraft. He might be drafted, or he may not be. He might be on the wire, but especially if you go Josh Allen, I mean, you want to take a shot in a deeper some NFSC drafts it's 30 rounds. I mean, take a shot on Josh Palmer. I mean,
what about Elijah? What about Elijah Moore?
So I forgot about him. Yeah, he's intriguing too. We're not really seeing his potential. He was stuck out in Cleveland for a while, so and it's been disastrous out there. So we'll see what the potential's there. I mean, Ole Miss produces wide receivers.
He kind of reminds me he's like Christian Watson, but a couple of years earlier. Like now he's back on the team. Like, is he going to be like he was flash in a pan that first year, and then. But all right, so what are we at? 20. We got 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
All right. We don't have JD in the studio yet, and we got through our personal interview. So
he'll be on in a few minutes.
I know. So there we go. This will get us. We can start talking a little poker. Jerry Bagshaw, hey, Poker Stars jersey, nice. Yeah, so I won a seat. Let me tell you about this jersey, and you guys are all gonna shame me because I didn't cash in on the seat. I won a seat on Polka Stars in 2006. I think it was work. There were like a couple of factors related why I couldn't make it out to Vegas that year, and I took the cash payout, but they still sent me a jersey, and that's it right there. It's World Series of Poker Team 2006.
That's
I
awesome.
Yeah, I ended up playing. I have played couple of World Series poker events. 2010. It's also the last time I was in Vegas. I can't wait to go back one of these days when time and opportunity allows.
That's
Right.
pretty
So
nice. I never did get into poker. I never did. I'm surprised I didn't. They usually go hand in hand, don't they?
no, don't do it, Joe, because you're too honest and too nice. I don't think you have. I I am a generous and a nice guy, but like I don't think that you can sit down and want to mentally exploit somebody and take all their money. Like I don't think that you have that characteristic
You
in
and
you.
Duke need to do a podcast on poker, don't you? Everybody don't know who Duke is, but
Duke
great fantasy.
Viveros, yeah, he plays. He's an FFPC high stakes fantasy football player, and
And he won
and
the.
he plays everything but hold'em though. He plays stud. He plays high low stud. He's a very good 7 card stud player. Any tournament he enters, it doesn't matter if there's 30 entries or 70 entries. He's down to like the last 5, like almost consistently.
And
I'm like, damn.
he took down Silver Bullet last year, I think,
2 years ago on a
2 years ago.
quarterback kneel
Oh, that is right. Yeah, he won it.
Patrick Patrick
He won.
Mahomes did a QB kneel, and the guy in front of him lost enough points that made him win. Imagine that. Imagine winning on that. Oh my God,
That,
he must have got up and was doing like a little shimmy dance or whatever. Michael Jackson,
I'm
whoever.
telling you,
Yeah.
fantasy football is so. I mean, it goes down. I mean, to the last second, to the whistle is over. I mean, you don't know what to expect. I mean, it's tough.
I'll be playing in that tournament this year at the expo. You guys playing again? You guys going out there, Jerry and Jamie? I'll be out there for that. Nice. So when JD does pop in here, we're gonna be talking zero RB strategy. When it comes to the zero RB strategy, I know Joey right here, Joey Brown is an absolute master of this strategy. And if I could name another person that does it really well, I'm going with JD. I know that JD is very good at hitting on running backs
Yeah,
from like
yeah, they are.
from like round 7, round 8 on. And here he is. We got him. We're gonna bring him in.
What's up, boys?
What's going on, JD?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
My volume good?
Your volume's good. Your
Sound
timing's good.
I heard you talking about war stories from the WSOP. How about this guy right here?
Is that you?
2011.
Nice.
It's hard to not get the reflection on it, but
yeah, every time. Yeah, I know. That's awesome.
Yeah, I went a couple times down there. I had no luck in the World Series, man. It's just one of those.
Me either.
None. Like I know I played with Phil Lack. I made it till day 2, the second time I went down, but yeah, just could never get into the money. You know what I mean?
Jamie says, "What's up?"
What's up, Jamie? My sound guy. He's always around. Yeah. That's awesome.
So 2 events I played in. One, I had an ace high flush, flopped an ace high flush, and had a guy go all in into me. What am I supposed to do? I call.
Yeah.
He pairs the board. He had a set of 8s. He pairs the board. I lose. I made a mistake though. So somebody went all in. It was a short stack that went all in for like 8,500. I was in good shape. I had like 17K. It started with 10K. I was in good shape. I should have isolated. I didn't isolate. I only called, and this pocket eights came in, and that's what costed me the pot.
You get Joe talking poker, man. It's over. The show's over. How you doing, Joey?
But it's good to see you, JD.
Yeah, nice to connect with you, man. I know we've chatted in DMs and stuff a few times, and I think we've been on. Did you come on the Goat District at all?
I've never gone there.
Okay. Oh, we got to maybe make that happen. But yeah, it's nice to connect, man. Nice to see you.
Make it happen. Joey's been on camera twice, and this is the second time, and he's killed it both times.
There you go. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I always. It's like the guys that reach out to me about Go District in the DMs. Anytime they get on stream, they end up kicking ass. Like it's just like a given. Both of you guys, and then there's a few more that we brought on to. Who did we have?
Harry Snowman, right?
Harry Snowman. I split teams with him. He's one of the sharpest guys I know. Who did we have on the other week? Wow, I'm totally blanking. Where is he? Mason Spain. Mason Spain was on.
Yeah,
Mason is good. He is very sharp. Yeah.
He's another sharp guy. Yeah, there's a lot of sharp guys. The high stakes guys. It's hard to find someone who's not too sharp. That's for sure.
And you better bring your A game because they'll take your money and you lose too real quick.
Oh yeah, and the more innocent they look, the more dangerous they are.
All right, enough poker talk. Let's get into the.
You would have been proud of me on Friday night, Joe, because I hadn't played in a while. I haven't played poker in a while. I know you go pretty regularly, but I got invited to like the dads in the neighborhood got together, and I cleaned house, man. I won 4 of the five tournaments. I made like $10 buy-ins. I made like a few $100. You know what I mean?
It's like when you're a really good bowler and you're bowling for dollars. You walk out of there like $250. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good that you're winning because I think JD might be like me. You collect cards too, don't you?
I do collect cards.
I do too. Yeah,
I do collect cards.
That's an expensive little hobby too.
It is.
Can be. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so we're gonna get into some zero RB strategy. These are two of the very best when it comes to this. I dabble in sometimes, but I kind of only do it if it presents itself and I get that chance to stack for really good wide receivers or the premium quarterback and the premium tight end. But you guys do it religiously and you have success with it consistently. So why not talk about what it takes to execute it and the pros and cons of it? We'll get into all of it. So why don't we start with you, Joey? What are some of the pros of zero RB, and what are some of the what could go wrong with doing zero RB?
I like zero RB just because of, anybody can get hurt at any given time, but our running backs, they carry the ball so much, which now a lot of it they ain't many bell cow RBs out there anymore, so that kind of changes the format of it too. But I just can't see myself having the B. Johns, the Jahmyr Gibbs, who I like him. And I guess us fantasy players get guilty. Once you start winning a certain way, it's hard to go away from that. But that don't mean that you can't win. You can win any way in fantasy football. It's just there's so many different ways to win, But you capitalize on wide receivers each week if you got the right ones. And I like, in a PPR, I like doing a zero RB better too than a standard. And then JD had one of my favorite guests, one of my good friends, Tommy Libretti, on his show before. And he was the one who implemented to me by taking a elite tight end mixed in with these 4 wide receivers, or at least 3 stud and then 1 tight end. So I got to give him a shout out there because he's the one who got me on that. And then I don't like taking RBs really to about field for 6th round, especially like the other night. I love my guy there in your draft you took. Chuba Hubbard in round 5, I would probably pull him up with 3 wide receivers, and a tight end. If you could land that, then you can build the rest from there.
All right. What about you, JD? Pros and cons.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit when Dan and I were on. For me, the nice thing about knowing how to build all of these, whether it's zero RB, hero RB, I think I said this last time. That's kind of why I was recalling that. But to me, they're like tools, right? Joey's right. Like if you win a certain way, you're gonna like when if I did really well in a tournament, I'll go back to that draft board and see what I did to how did I get there? Can I replicate that? But I find now, like just with the amount of drafts that we've done, I think you guys are probably the same. It almost becomes like a tool, right? Like the way that let's see how the draft falls. Let's see what the rest of the draft room is doing. How can I zig when they're zagging? I know that's cliche, but zero RB is a really good way to do it, especially with now the depth at the position. You're seeing less of like these. I mean, they're still there. We still have workhorses. But Joey talked about the injuries at the position. It allows you to get really like elite wide receivers, elite quarterbacks, elite tight ends, especially if those values fall earlier in the draft. And it allows you to go deeper at the running back position. So obviously one of the downfalls is you really have to hit on those running backs. Like, you're trying to make a collage of running backs, and that's why you want to go deeper. So I always say, like, I like to be top heavy at receiver, get my studs early, at least 4 or 5. Maybe I'll add a couple more as we go down the draft, but I'm really looking at depth at the running back position so that I can glue together a starting lineup throughout my build. And I'm thinking mostly like in best ball, it's easier, I think, for me because of the volume I do to do that. But even in redraft, it's the same thing. When you're drafting these players, you're not expecting every guy you draft to play 17 weeks. You're looking to fill in the holes throughout the season. Is this guy going to help me in the playoff weeks? This guy's going to help me in the first third of the year. This guy's going to come in halfway through the year. What's up, Peanut Punch? AJ in the house. So yeah, that's kind of how I play it. The huge payoff is when you hit on your running backs, especially the ones that you get later on, right? Like we talked about Chuba Hubbard. He's the guy I was picking up a lot of last year, and that really helped me out because he hit, and if you weren't grabbing Chuba Hubbard, it's at the same time, let's face it, if you didn't have Barkley, it was hard to win a league last year. But last year was kind of an anomaly, when it comes to the zero RB versus that robust RB build.
And I had to sit and wait on Chase Brown. That was my pick too.
Yeah, there you go.
I had to sit and wait on him for a while till the Bengals got smaller.
I was just gonna say Chase Brown and Chuba Hubbard was the
I remember Nelson kept talking about Chase Brown like that. Every time you saw him on a stream or you saw him talking.
Such a good call.
He was always talking about Chase Brown, and he was right. In the end, he was right. It's just like you said, Joey, you had to be patient, but you had to account for that when you're building that roster, and you had to have the guys to fill in, before he came in and became that, the stud that he was in Cincinnati. So the nice thing this year, and we'll talk about it later on with specifics, but the way the draft boards play out right now, you can wait till the 6th, 7th, 8th round to get your first running back, and you can get yourself a pretty decent starter in a pretty decent offense, like a really good offense, and not have to pay that high price and really stack up at the other positions early.
Yeah, like for example, DeAndre Swift is a name that comes.
That's the first guy. That's the first guy that comes up when I'm looking at the ADP right now.
So what kind of are you guys looking for a consistent, safe floor for an RB1, or are you looking for kind of like you just mentioned, an RB in a good offense, like a David Montgomery or DeAndre Swift, or like, what do you think, Joe?
I like Swift, but just because the new OC, Ben Johnson, the offense is going to be good. If the offensive line is there, we'll have to see how that. I hope they improved it, but pass catching running backs, and Roschon Johnson's not done much. They brought the rookie in, so the touches should be there for Swift, and especially if you like JD saying, if you can get him in round 7 or 8, then he don't have to be great. He just got to be decent in wide receiver builds. If you're wide receivers and tight end hit, they don't have to be great. They just got to be decent.
I've seen it. So he's been creeping up a little. I've seen him go back end of round 6 and some, but 7th round is generally where you can get Swift. Now, you mentioned Chuba earlier. I believe Chuba's going in round 5. I mean, what are the cases? Like, when would you go round 5 as your first running back? Like, Chuba's one of them. Like, how about Joe Mixon? Are you in on Joe Mixon this year as an RB1 or a 0 RB build? Like, sometimes, I mean, a lot of people call this the dead zone. So this is why I bring up round 5. So.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Joey when it comes to Mixon. Like, it's funny because I just drafted him and Jonathan Taylor in, what am I drafting? I don't remember.
Who else is
It's
going?
one of the
Trevion Henderson's going there, and who's the rookie from the Chargers? Why am I drawing a blank?
But see, even with those, like put it this way: if you start with like a Trevion Henderson, a Amarian Hampton, start with one of those guys as your RB1. You're really going to have to balance out your RB room as you go down the board. You can't just be drafting a bunch of rookies the whole way down because you're not going to have anybody to fill up your lineup at the beginning of the year. So let's say I don't want to totally be avoiding, you talked about Henderson. So I know Dan's big on Henderson, Dan Williamson. So if you start with like a Henderson and you plan on grabbing like a Drake May because you want to build like a little sneaky New England stack, then you're for sure going to be looking for the other guys you just talked about. So like Pacheco's are good. Pacheco, I find, is a good price right now. Even Brian Robinson in that offense, they didn't bring anyone else to compete with him. Old man Eckler's there. He'll get some PPR points, but he's not necessarily going to take the workload away from him. You've got Travis Etienne right now in the 8th round, who's looking like the RB1 in a Liam Cohen offense out there in Jacksonville, where we're expecting things to be pointing upwards. So the way I look at it is I'm trying to pick off these, RB1s, quote unquote, in their offenses at the best value as I can. Like, I even go down the board. Like, for me, Tyrone Tracy, I know everybody doesn't want to draft Giants because they're the Giants, but when you can get an RB1 in his offense in round 9, that's pretty solid. You know what I mean? Especially if he's like your RB2 at that point, and maybe you picked off like a Tony Pollard or like, I don't know who else. Like, you talked about DeAndre Swift. David Montgomery fits into those builds as well. Like, he's a consistent guy that is going to be on the field as long as he's not injured.
Exactly.
He's in a high scoring offense. He has a role. You know what to expect from him. So those guys, it's even easier to build around them because you know exactly how they're going to fit in your starting lineup.
Especially like James Conner, he still gets no love. He produces.
Totally. But then you take RJ Harvey instead. It's like, okay, when is this guy going to – you really have to tell that story without really knowing. You know what I mean? Like, you got to tell yourself the story for that build without really knowing. Is he going to come in early in the season? Is he going to kind of be in the committee at first? We're expecting him obviously to come in and take that role, but now with J.K. Dobbins in the story, that murks the water a bit. But that's where you get the values, right? It's when you're not really sure how those backfields are going to play out.
Let me ask you all guys this.
Go ahead, Jay.
Especially like JD does it too, and you do sometimes on the. Don't you think we use a little bit more fab money, on a zero RB, because you're always looking for that RB. If you don't draft one that hits, we might spend a little bit more fab early on in the
100%. Yeah, well, you spend it differently, that's for sure. But you definitely do, because I refer to this team last year. My best, I want to say football guys, but last year, what was it? What was the big gorilla last year? I forget what it's called already.
FFPC, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, who was the sponsor?
Fantasy Pros. Fantasy Pros. Yeah. So I had a team where I took Justin Jefferson, and then I ended up with Barkley, Kamara, and A-Chain. So like that team, I was never like, obviously you're looking to see who's available, and you're trying to get some of these guys that pop on the waiver wire. But I was trying to spend my money elsewhere. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily a running back. But Joey's right. If you're not hitting on your running backs early in your zero RB build, you're trying to smash. You're trying to hit like the Jordan Masons or the Garendos. When they hit, you see guys blowing like a big chunk of their waiver wire money because they don't have a choice. And that's why I'm saying that's kind of a con with the zero RBs. If you don't hit early on those guys, then sometimes you got to plug in holes and you got to get creative with it.
And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work out. I did delete. Now this is why I don't like zero running back. I can think of a zero running back build from 2 years ago. I was stuck at RB2, and I ended up dropping when J.K. Dobbins got hurt. I think I spent like almost 50% fab on Justice Hill. You're right, Justice Hill. And I was like, I hated every minute of it, but I had to do it because I had no running backs readily available. And I knew that his ceiling wasn't going to be that great and his floor was going to be hit or miss. But I needed a guy that was getting on the field at least. So I did that, and it kind of bit me in the ass as the season went on because the fab money ended up really hurting me. But much to your point too, Joe, about Tommy talking about landing a premium tight end. If you don't have a premium if you have a premium tight end, I should say, that now you can get more aggressive with your running back fab in the zero RB build.
Right, yeah.
Because quarterbacks generally, if you don't have a premium quarterback, you'd say you waited on a quarterback like Justin Fields or somebody and say he goes down. Now you're looking at the quarterback waiver wire, but the quarterback's not going to cost you half your fab, as opposed to chasing that running back. So when an actual premium free agent running back presents itself, not a Justice Hill, but somebody better, you can get aggressive with it and make sure you get your guy. So I know
all three of us want to hit on that player a week early before they break out.
I was going to say, in quarterback, you can usually do that.
Yeah. You can
this is why I like I brought up guys like Montgomery, Joey, you brought up Connor, DeAndre Swift. Like you got to have that first running back's got to be somebody that's gonna get you some sort of 10 to 15 points.
Even Jordan Mason this year, he could be like a David Montgomery. You know what I mean? David Montgomery light in that offense. Like he's going to be running the goal line.
He's going to get a lot more carries than people think because
for sure. And that offense is creative. They got a good offensive line. Like people forget like how good that offense is. Everybody's thinking about the last two games of last year, against Detroit and LA. But that offense was flying, man. And now you've got Aaron Jones. What is he, 33 now or something like that? So Jordan Mason for me Jordan Mason's a guy I can't. I've had to slow down because I just keep clicking on him since January, even before he got to Minnesota. But when he got to Minnesota, that became even juicier.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Bagshaw brings up Monangai as a handcuff. So what are the importance of targeting handcuffs, like in the mid to late rounds? Are we going after some high upside handcuffs?
I go after other people's.
That's what I was saying. Other people.
That's what I meant. I meant handcuff running backs, like running backs that are labeled as handcuffs, not necessarily your handcuff.
Well, I would say this, and you two probably might agree. I don't know.
Like the Garendos, the Braylon Allens, like these type of guys.
But like a league winner, in my opinion, I know everybody don't like that, but if you draft Kenneth Walker, we've seen what Charbonnet can do. Especially in a zero RB build, if you get him late, I mean, you're going to be good. If Walker gets hurt, I mean, Charbonnet's going to be really good.
Charbonnet, I think, carries standalone value, not just handcuff.
I'm not a big handcuff guy. I never have been. No, I just draft somebody else's.
Me neither.
Yes, that's what I mean. We drafted handcuff profile running backs.
See, the thing with those guys, like your
RB2s of a team's depth chart.
The thing with the Charbonnets and the Garendos, like let's face it, I'm looking at last year. Everybody thinks Charbonnet crushed it last year. He had so week 2 and week 3, he finished top 10. So RB8, RB7. He only had one other week that was in the single digits. He got that 38-point week in week 14 against Arizona. But see, here's the difference between having these guys later in drafts versus stacking up early at running back and grabbing other positions later is you have an idea as to when they're starting in the game and when they're going to get you those points. Whereas the receiver 3 on his roster that you have to plug in week 14, you have no idea what that guy's going to do.
Right.
Even if the wide receiver 1 is out, you still have no idea. But if the RB1 is out and a guy like Charbonnet goes in, or if Swift is out, I would love to have Roschon coming into 2025. I love grabbing Roschon at his price, because if Swift isn't the RB1,
he's free.
Exactly, at Roschon's price, But then the other nice thing about this year's running back class with all the rookies is, man, it's deep. Like, there are so many of these Manung guys, Woody, what's his name? Woody Marks. You've got Taj Brooks in Cincinnati. You've got, you can go on and on about all the guys in good offenses. Even like Taj Brooks only has Chase Brown in front of him. You know what I mean? Other than Zach Moss, but what's Zach Moss going to do? Famous last words, but I'm not expecting him to do much. So the nice thing this year is you can really load up on those rookies late in the drafts, and then kind of get these guys we're talking about in the middle with like the Pachecos, the Brian Robinson, those kind of guys, the Swifts. But I'm like Joey. I'm not a handcuff guy. I haven't been for a long time. Doesn't really matter the format. There are very, very specific cases, maybe in redraft or dynasty, where I might dabble on my own, in my own starters handcuffs. But it's not a strategy that I rather grab other people's handcuffs, because even in dynasty, if other people's handcuffs pop, you have an opportunity now to trade them to the guy who has the injured running back. You know what I mean? So if you have Shipley and Barkley goes down, instead of guessing, what's this guy going to do? If you can get yourself like a first or something crazy, like a second, and I don't know, something else, get yourself padded up at a different position. Now you're building value on your, I heard you got a pair of pink fuzzy handcuffs, Jakey. Hey, who told you that?
I'll tell you the other player that's probably under the radar right now. We don't know what's going to happen in the situation, my team. But these early drafters that's getting Ray Davis late could be a diamond in the rough based on if Cook holds out. We're getting him free right now. I mean, not free, but you're getting him in double-digit rounds, I'm sure. I've not seen the ADP on him, but
he's going round 11. Like, he's moved up a little bit, but yeah, he's a guy I've been drafting for that exact reason. If you don't want to grab James Cook at his price because there's uncertainty there, Ray Davis gave us what? What did he give us last year? He gave us a monster week.
Oh yeah,
I gotta tell you though, James Cook slipping is very appealing.
So it's becoming value for sure.
Yeah,
because one thing I know about is it Joe Brady? Is that the name of the offensive coordinator for Buffalo?
Yes.
Joe Brady. It is ever since he took over, James Cook became the centerpiece of the offense outside of Josh Allen, of course.
Right.
Josh Allen's obviously the centerpiece, but I think they use James Cook more than they use any other offensive weapon that they have. And I noticed this last year in games where they were 40 to 50 points on the board and absolutely demolishing whoever they were playing. James Cook was a smash in all of those games.
No, that's why he scored 18 touchdowns.
So I think that as long as they are winning and they can take that path, that he's going to be the focus of the offensive game plan most weeks.
I find it hard to believe that they don't bring him back, man, after how much he was part of that offense.
That's what I'm talking about. And this is why I'm loving back end of round 4, sometimes round 5, James Cook. he might be your new RB1 target for 0 RB build.
But even we talked about Joe Mixon earlier. Like, as much as I wasn't drafting Joe Mixon till recently, the fact that he's like in the 5th, 6th round now, and if Stroud doesn't have a bounce back year and Mixon does come in healthy, even if he doesn't give you the whole season, look, he was crushing early last year, right? In that offense. So these are all, again, what's important is how you build around these guys, not necessarily if you're drafting him or not. Because I think we all draft volume, right? If somebody's watching in middle of July, you're probably doing volume. So it's not like you're just drafting 2 or 3 teams and you're like, oh, I'm not drafting Joe Mixon. You're going to have 1 or 2 teams, right, that you're going to draft, like a Joe Mixon or, some of these guys that we talked about. So it's really about what you're going to build around them. And 0 RB, I'm more of like it's more of like a hero RB light. That's probably my preferred build, because then I can start. I like to start with either 3 or 4. I like getting 3 or 4 receivers early. I like getting, if a McBride or a Brock falls, but let's face it, they're not falling. Kittle was falling for a while. He was in the 4th round, which is nice. So I was grabbing that. And then you can grab yourself like a Joe Mixon, or, DeAndre Swift wasn't up here earlier in the offseason. He was a little cheaper, but the nice thing is it's good to be flexible. And that's kind of like, sometimes I hear people talking and they're like, oh, I'm a 0 RB guy, or I don't think that's the right approach. I feel like every draft is completely different.
And you can still be like what you're saying. Let's say we get a good running back, a real good one. And let's say he gives you a player and a half points. You still don't need much out of that second RB. If you get like hero RB or so, but you get a player and a half total points from one running back, then you just fill that RB2 void.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you want.
Then it's like a 0 RB2.
Yeah, I mean,
you're just trying to glue together that RB2, as opposed to
fill it in. Give me 6 or 7 points, move on.
Yeah,
that usually I could see that happening if you try to grab yourself an elite group quarterback and like say McBride falls to you at the back end of round 2, and you take McBride. And then it comes back to you in round 4, and you grab Josh Allen or somebody, Lamar, any of those guys, Joe Burrow.
And that's a hard thing to do too. I don't know how you two feel, but
I've
always just hard to take a quarterback and tight end both. You almost have to. If I'm going to take a tight end, I'm going to take a middle of the pack.
Well, you can do it, but it's how do you feel about it after? It's like you look at that team, and
I don't know how I feel about it.
It never feels that good.
It's 0 wide receiver build. Is what it is.
Yeah.
The more yellow and green I have in my first 10 rounds, the happier I am. When the draft's over, it never fails. Like I did a main event with Snowman. We did a review with Dan on the first Coach District episode, and that we made a point of, I think the first 10 rounds we just went yellow and green, but we love that build. It's we didn't go early tight end, we didn't go early quarterback, and it worked out. So I think the more you go running back, receiver early, especially like receiver early, then maybe you hit your running backs. There's so many tight ends this year, man. It's so deep at tight end.
Yeah, there's 2 that one I really like. I like Tucker Kraft late. I think he's best pass catcher out in Green Bay. I mean, could be even better this year.
Agreed.
I agree 100% as well. If he gets more volume, even if it's like 20% more volume.
And really, if you go deeper than that, and he's probably 4 or 5 rounds later out in your way, Hunter Henry's still probably the guy for Drake.
I was just going to say, I have so many Brenton Strange, Hunter Henry rosters. Like those 2 back to back is like it's my go-to. If I still don't have a tight end, I'm usually grabbing Strange and then Hunter Henry, or vice versa. I have a lot of them on the same roster.
I'm loving Hunter Henry. Brenton Strange worries me in managed leagues. In best ball, he's how can you pass up that value? He's basically free. But in managed leagues, like
who's he fighting? Who's he fighting for targets?
Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas, and ETN for that matter.
Is Brian Thomas going to get 100% of the target share?
He did last year, did he not?
Yeah, but there was no Liam Cohen, and I don't know, man. I just think to me those narrow target trees, there's enough room for 3 guys. You know what I mean?
If it calls for it, I'll take him. I haven't taken him in redraft yet. I have a good chunk of them in best ball.
And he's round 12 in tight end premium, so it's not like you're drafting him in round 6. You know what I mean?
Isn't Kyle Pitts going in round 12? No.
Kyle Pitts is round 11. Round 11 with likely.
And I'll tell you somebody else too, JD. Both of you, I'm sure drafted him earlier. Dalton Kincaid is still the potential is there. I don't know whether he's going to do it or not, but.
So all the talk has been good about him. I guess he put on some size. I heard he put on some size. He's going into year 3. He should take a leap. Like you said, Joe, One thing that every team, with the exception of the Saquon Barkley Eagles, has in common, the last Super Bowl champions, they've all had a really good tight end.
True.
So Dalton Kincaid taking the next step. I feel like that's why Buffalo drafted him as high as they did last year or 2 years ago. And, we haven't seen a breakout yet. We've seen a little bit of flash. We've seen that maybe that's why he put on some size. Maybe he was having a hard time with the physical aspect of the NFL.
Which is why I have more confidence in a guy like Brendan Strange. And even, we talk about Loveland, who got drafted, like these guys like Ben Johnson, Lee and Combe. You don't think they notice that these teams winning Super Bowls have top end tight ends? They want to make their tight ends a top tight end. You know what I mean? So they're coming in with a fresh slate. They've got Brendan Strange there. They've got, whether it's Loveland or Kmet. These Kmet's free right now. He's literally free.
Loveland is such a good value. Loveland is a huge value too. Like a rookie tight end has been a tight end one the last 2 years. So why wouldn't you take some?
There's a lot of them this year.
I want to go back to what JD was talking about too. Go ahead, and John. I agree with him with Cohen being gone, and a little bit skeptical. Outside of Gibbs, don't you wonder how Detroit offense? I've questioned. I don't know how
Ben Johnson gone, not Cohen.
I wonder about that. I have preseason. We need to look see what's going on in I mean, they're star players. You're going to draft them. I'm not saying not draft them, but you need to question what's this OC going to do. I mean, is it going to be all Gibbs and Montgomery? Is Amon-Ra going to?
The one that's it right there. That's the one I'm concerned about right there, Joey. Is Amon-Ra. Because
he could be built around Gibbs. I don't blame him. I mean, he's electric. I mean,
it's one of those where if it's not fixed, what is it? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to think the first year without Ben Johnson, they're not going to stray too far away from what they were already doing. But yeah, I mean, you're losing kind of the mastermind behind the offense. So does that mean they rely more on the David Montgomerys, the Gibbs? I don't know. I think people the concerns with Amon-Ra, I think, is gone. I mean, he's still going,
right?
Beginning of the second, but I think it's starting to get a little too much. The concern with Amon-Ra, because at the end of the day, the guy's legit. He's consistent. I don't see much difference between him and Nico Collins. Just that he's in a better offense right now.
Is the big play efficiency though, like the timing of that play call? Is that gonna be effective? Like the J-Mo 58-yard touchdown, the Jahmyr Gibbs.
I think good players. What is that? What's the saying I was gonna say? Command targets. You know what I mean? Like in the end, at the end of the day, the teams are gonna lean on their talent and on the guys they know they can depend on. And Amon-Ra was getting fed in that offense, and I don't know that that's going to change too much. J-Mo is definitely ascending as a receiver. It took him a while because of all the issues he had, the gambling and whatever else reasons he wasn't on the field. But I mean, Goff is also he's progressed as a quarterback. He's really established himself in that offense. So I think that offense can carry. They were like putting up some serious points in a lot of those games last year. And, I just think that it's not much different than, having Higgins and Chase on the same team and that kind of thing. I think maybe, we'll just see J-Mo become more of that offense. Laporta, again, the thing is we don't know exactly how the offense is going to play out here, but I don't know. How do you guys feel about Laporta? He's going in the 5th round right now. He was at one point, a top 3 tight end last year going into this season, but I don't know. How do you guys feel about him?
I still think he has top 5 potential, but I think you might be dealing with some consistency issues. I do think that, like, you mentioned J-Mo ascending. So this is no knock on Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and all those guys. But the closest thing that I see in my own eyes when I watch the guy play, the closest thing that I've seen to Randy Moss is Jameson Williams, in my opinion. So that concerns me a little bit. If Amon-Ra's still getting tepid and JMO takes a step forward, I see Laporta maybe being touchdown dependent. Doesn't mean, like more of a best ball play. Kind of like him in best ball more than redraft based on his ADP. If he was going a little bit later, like some drafts you can get him in the 6th, but like you said, JD, he's going in the back end around the mid to back end around 5 in a lot of drafts, and to me that's too rich for my blood.
He's a receiver too. The problem with these guys that are like in the 5th round is like, am I going to take Cortland Sutton, who's the number 1 target in his offense, or am I going to take Jameson Williams, who I don't know what the hell, you know what I mean? And that's why
yeah. It depends on your build, really.
Yeah, it depends on your build, but it's kind of like we're talking about these running backs that are like RB1s, and then you see like an RB2 in their offense going next to them in the same round. I'm kind of looking for those guys that are going to command the targets, more often. So I don't know. Jameson, he goes beside Devontae Smith. I guess that's fair. He goes, Zay Flowers. Not too many people are high on Zay this year. I like
Zay. I've always loved Zay.
I think there's potential for him to break out. George Pickens, we don't know what that's going to look like in that offense. One thing about Dallas is, like, I was deciding for the Scott Fish Bowl. I'm in the 12 spot. And I knew I was taking Trey McBride because he fell to me. I was hoping CMC would fall, but he went the pick right before. So I was deciding between Justin Jefferson, who's my guy, and I pick him everywhere. So I was like, do I want to switch it up and grab CeeDee Lamb? But the more I was thinking about it, more I was looking into it. Dak's coming off of injury. They've got a new offense, new head coach in Dallas. CeeDee was injured last year, as much as, everyone thinks about Dak being injured. So for me, I'm looking at Justin Jefferson. I'm like, he's got the same, mastermind running that offense. They got an awesome offensive line. They've got the running backs to open up the aerial game. We don't even know who the running back is in Dallas.
I was going to ask you about, Williams is kind of intriguing.
And he's pretty quarterback proof. Right.
He's definitely quarterback proof, but Justin Jefferson's been a top 3 receiver pretty much every season. So For me, I don't feel like I'm ever losing when I grab Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a free square.
Absolutely. Yeah. And plus Joe, he likes JJ McCarthy anyway, so Jefferson should be good.
I love JJ.
Oh, same. Love me, especially at his price, man. Like put it this way, people are like poo-pooing Darnold last year. Look at what he did in that offense. So imagine JJ McCarthy's coming up, and he's a highly regarded rookie coming in last year. Obviously got injured, but he's coming into a really nice situation. He's like the rookie driver that just got signed by Mercedes when he was 18. Like if anyone watches F1 racing.
Did Jamie answer his own question? I wait till he signs with a team and trade him for a 3rd.
I'm trying to see where he's even going right now. Is Amari Cooper 18th round?
When he signs with a team in Dynasty, though, he's asking what to do with him in Dynasty. when he signs with a team, trade him for a 3rd.
Yeah, package him with something, make him the throw-in just to get the deal done.
Yeah. Pete's in the house. What's up, Pete? Got any questions for us, man? I used to chime in your show and sometimes ask questions. But, if you have any questions, drop in, man. All right, so getting back to the zero RB topic, there's one more question I need to ask, and this is particularly for you, JD, because you're a Dynasty maniac. When you're doing a startup draft, what are the advantages of zero RBing, or maybe not so much zero RBing, but like targeting value, the running backs for value for that specific year, and factor in youth as well? I mean,
yeah, for me, Dynasty at the running back position, it might as well be redraft. Like that's how I approach the position, and that offers you a lot of value because you can invest in those other positions like in the early rounds where that value is going to last you longer. And those old crusty guys we talked about, like the James Connors, the Pachecos, they fall, man. They fall in dynasty drafts. So you can get yourself like a stacked, tight end, receiver, quarterback room early in those super flex, tri-flex builds. And then you can just hit the depth. It works the same way, like in dynasty, just that you got to think, like my mind works the same way in dynasty as it does in redraft. I'm only these guys who think they're drafting like, Devon A-Chain for the next 10 years. Like I have news for you. Like these running backs, the cliff comes quick.
1 year, 1 year window, right? 1 year window.
1 year window. Well, yes. Overall in dynasty, I'm looking max 3 years for all my players, windows. So the running back for sure, I'm only looking at 1 year at a time.
Right.
I like it. I like that approach because that allows you to draft some of the older running backs that have really fallen at a value that might be serviceable for 1 year. But it also kind of opens your eyes to some of the regular, some of the younger guys that might pop within 2 years, I should say. They have a path year one, but they really have a path to upside by year two. Like those are the guys you want to target if you're doing zero RB and dynasty startups.
And just to add to that, the way I balance that out is then I'm building that running back room in through the rookie draft. Like I'm trying to draft rookies, running backs in those rookie drafts to come in and replace those, vets or those cheaper guys that maybe you drafted in the startup. Obviously, when value falls and all that kind of stuff in rookie drafts, there are exceptions, but mainly I'm trying to draft my running backs in the rookie draft, and then other positions I'm most likely to trade for.
We got a question out of Pete. Derrick Henry or Devon A-Chain? He's starting to lean A-Chain. Joey, you go first, brother.
I probably go Henry. He's not dead just yet, but that offense, and he looks pretty good. I mean, A-Chain could be a monster, though. I mean, but you just don't know what's going to happen with Tua. I mean, one hit and you stack the box. I don't know if he's talking about dynasty. I'd probably go redraft.
No. I think this is a redraft, but I think he would have specified it.
I think I'd go Henry based on the offense that he plays in. Even though Lamar does his thing, but he still produces.
There's nothing like walking out of a best ball with Lamar and Derrick Henry, man. Because you just smashed every touchdown in one of the best offenses in the NFL. I'm the same. For me, and this might be like a fault on my end, but Miami Dolphins this year, I just can't get into it. I cannot. I go to click it and I just can't. There's not really. I'm not a Tua guy. Tua makes me nervous. Yep. Hill makes me nervous. A-Chain is the only one that doesn't necessarily make me nervous. But when everything else in that offense, including the offensive line and the quarterback, makes me nervous, why am I going to spend a second round pick on that running back when I can get myself, like we just said, a Henry, even a Jonathan Taylor, man? Like people are poo-pooing the Colts.
Yeah.
I remember last year when AR was coming in as a rookie, why did everybody like AR? Because of the coaching staff in Indianapolis, right? Because of what's his name? Oh man, I'm blanking. Stryken, right? So what's the difference now? Because it's Daniel Jones. Who the hell did Daniel Jones have in New York? He had nobody for the whole time he was there until Neighbors came in last year. And that was the only guy he has. Now he comes into an offense. They just grabbed Tyler Warren. They have Michael Pittman coming back from injury. They've got Josh Downs that showed that he's pretty legit. They've got Jonathan Taylor, who's one of the top running backs in the league. They've got why are people hating on, for me, you guys were talking about the Bills earlier and being a fan. I was a Colts fan because I was a Peyton Manning guy for like his entire career and I cheered the Colts, but being in fantasy, I don't really cheer for teams anymore. But one team this year I think is a good value just as a whole, the offense. And I took Jonathan Taylor just now at the 301 in the fishbowl.
Nice. Good value.
He's money, man. Like he's going to be eating up every aspect of that offense. So I feel like instead of A-Chain, I'd rather grab Henry. I'd rather grab Jonathan Taylor. And I'd rather grab a lot of those receivers in that range too. And if McBride falls, I'll take McBride.
Right. And I like Waddle better now out of any of them. If Tua stays
If
upright.
any, it's Waddle because he's just such a great price this year.
Was John O'Gone, he has to, I see his ADP will start creeping up a little bit. I would imagine. But
Was he around round 6 right now, JD?
Who's that? Oh, Waddle?
Yeah, round
he'll
6.
probably go up a little bit.
So Waddle right now is going in round 6. He's going around Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
He's right after George Pickens, right before Travis Hunter.
We're talking about a guy that was an early second-round pick just 2 seasons ago, and the only reason why he's fallen is because he's had a little bit of trouble staying on the field, which is my main concern with him. But the Miami offense, like you said, JD, so many things can go wrong with it at the blink of an eye, and it's my concern with the
Oh, we saw it last year, man. Like Tua goes down, it's a disaster. That offense is a disaster.
The only thing that saved A-Chain was his receptions, and it could save him again this year. But I feel like Derrick Henry is not going to miss time in that offense. He's going to be preserved properly. They're going to use it. He's still going to score double-digit touchdowns, even if his volume goes down. He's a lock. Double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah, like if I take Henry in a build, I'm not touching RB till like round 10 minimum. You know what I mean? Like my story is telling me that Henry's playing 17 games for me. You know, and I'm just trying to fill in my RB2 the rest of the way.
Listen, when I watched him, when he ran for like 300 and something yards and 4 touchdowns or something like that, and they lost in the NCAA championship game. I said to myself, this guy is got to be the best running back prospect there has ever been. Like when he gets comfortable in the NFL, and he's the reason why I won. I finished top 5 in an NFFC challenge. I took him as an RB2 and I paired him with Todd Gurley, and I got him in the 4th round. And that was his 2nd year in the NFL, and I was like, it took him halfway through his 2nd year to really start dropping the 200-yard games. And I was like, I was expecting this way sooner, but once he started doing it, he's just a different animal, dude. You could tell right from that national championship game that Alabama lost, and he went off. He went off in there.
Peter's talking about Jonathan Taylor, low reception concern. His first season, he had 36 receptions. His second season, he had 40 receptions.
I think if he gets anything, if he goes over 30, he's a smash.
He is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was, what was he, number 1 pick overall in redraft a couple of years back? I mean, in round 3 now, 4. That's just like we was watching Joe's draft the other night. Kyron Williams went in 4th round. I mean,
he's been falling. He's been falling.
He gets like 75% of the goal line work. I mean, that's a good. I would go 3 straight wide receivers and take him. I would feel comfortable with that. I mean, that's not really 0 RB, but I'm just saying.
He's not. No, but he's not always going to fall in the 4th round. So
right.
if you're presented, that's a pivot. I love you bringing that up, Joe, because that's a pivot you would need to make. I think. Especially if you started 3 wide receivers.
Who was it that you mentioned? Sorry, Joey, I missed that.
Kyron Williams. 4th round, Kyron Williams.
Oh, Kyron Williams. Yeah, Kyron Williams. I totally agree, man. I think he's another guy that everybody's so like distracted by the shiny new Jarquez Hunter. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, look at Jarquez Hunter.
Blake Corum is still there.
And Blake Corum's still there. Yeah, no, man.
But Sean McVay is so into one running back. I mean, he's Todd Gurley days. I mean, it's still the same. I mean,
this is what I said the other day about the Rams is they're not looking to build a roster right now. They were one play away from making it to the Super Bowl last year. So
I got money on them to go to the Super Bowl already.
No, they're playing to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. So why are they going to, unless they have to, why are they going to start playing around with rookies? And, they didn't get that much. Look, I have a lot of Corum. I've got a lot of them just because he's so cheap and that offense is good. And if he ends up getting a role, whether it's an injury, then that's going to pay off big time. But the Rams are in it to win, and Kyren has been delivering. Why would they go anywhere else right now?
I mean, think of it. JD like stacking too. I mean, Stafford, Devontae Adams, and Kyren. I mean,
yeah.
Why not? I mean, you can get the first two, the running back, and Kyren and Devontae early, but you can
Stafford's free. Stafford's free.
You basically
he might be. If I had to make a list of the top 5 favorite picks in a draft, Matt Stafford's on it.
Well, he's going around Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. You know what I mean? Like the only other guy I like in that range is Geno Smith. Like Geno Smith is like, people are just, I don't know. I feel like Geno Smith is going to probably crush his ADP.
Right.
Sam Darnold's going undervalued too.
I was just looking. Sam Darnold, I think Cam Ward and Bryce Young can definitely pay off. But this is what I was saying earlier. Like, this is all in the 18th round right now. You've got Cam Ward, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Matt Stafford, Daniel Jones, and Geno Smith. And Michael Penix goes around before. If you just double tap or triple tap on 3 of those guys or 2 of those guys in your builds, like in the big gorilla or the main event, the rest of your roster is going to be smashing. And then you just play matchups with those guys. You're laughing.
Right. And you sit, look at people. It amazes me. It's something I've always stood by too. Like back in magazine days or whatnot, or rankings on sites. How did you not like Stafford? But when you got Puka Nacua, a wide receiver 1, and a high-end, low-end 1 or high-end 2, Devontae Adams, but you don't like Stafford as a QB 2? I mean,
listen, Joey, I talked about this, and the last time I was on air during the draft. Somebody asked me, give me a league winner. Devontae Adams is, for me this year, is my league winner, and I'll explain why. Matt Stafford is elite, okay? Puka Nacua is elite. Puka Nacua is, if you were a defensive coordinator and you were playing the Rams, who are you putting your top cover corner on? Puka Nacua, right? Would it be Puka or would it be Devontae?
That's a tough one. I would.
It depends if you have 2 good ones, right? You would play to the strengths. But in most cases, Devontae Adams is dealt with double cover his entire career. His entire career. He is about to have an elite, the best quarterback he's ever had throwing to him. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers.
And look at what he did in that mess in New York. He was still getting peppered at the end of the season there, even with Derek Carr.
And I know he had a thing with Derek Carr, but still, that offense wasn't the greatest, and he was
get in the car. I had to do my Boston. Get in the car.
Yeah, JD, that's a good one. You do it better than who's the moron that played Leonardo DiCaprio. Worst fake.
That's dog. Right. That's
right. They could have picked so many good people for that. They picked that dope who can't do a Boston accent. Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, all right. We're
on the clock in the fishbowl. Oh man, somebody sniped me. I was hoping I'd stack Kyler Murray with Trey McBride, and Travis Hunter went to pick right before me. I got 2 picks now.
They were a good Mel. I agree. But Matt Stafford is a better NFL quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. I stand by that.
Yeah.
He's my league winner. I mean, if 3rd round Devontae Adams, not 2nd round Devontae Adams, not back end 1-2 turn Devontae Adams. 3rd round Devontae Adams is the league winner this year. One of the league winners. There's more than one every year. But if Devontae Adams is going to be a huge piece to the puzzle this year.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Rams offense is going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're at an hour and 20 minutes. This has been great. JD, I appreciate you making the effort to come on with such short notice. I reached out to you today. Joey, same thing. We went on air the other night when we live streamed the draft with Will Miles, and it went so well that I couldn't wait to get you on here tonight.
I've had awesome time and awesome to meet JD. I mean, we've been hanging for chat.
For sure.
And I know that that's why JD's on here. I know he wanted.
I had to meet the myth, the legend. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Joey is so sharp, dude, and he's so unknown, and
I like it too.
I'm glad I can dig him out of the hole and bring him on here for you guys.
Absolutely,
he's awesome, man. You guys have been great. The chat's been great. If you haven't hit the like button, do that. If you're not subscribed to the sports affiliation, we have a lot of things planned throughout pre-draft season and throughout the season. We're trying to bring on some really good guests. I'm trying to build relationships with some really good people, and we want to get all the best guests we can on here, and we want to grow this channel as much as we can. So anything you guys can do for us, get people to subscribe, grab people's phones, hit YouTube, subscribe for them, and then hand them their phone back. Whatever you got to do it. We appreciate it. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, the Game Changers is coming back. Zen Collar, I don't know if you guys follow her, but her show is awesome. She does a personal interview show. It's more personal than fantasy football, but tomorrow night's guest is very much fantasy football related. He is one of my favorite listens. He's one of the sharpest guys in the world when it comes to the football and fantasy football. It's Andrew Cooper. He'll be on.
He's good.
Yep. She's got him on tomorrow night. The following week, I believe Howard Bender is on. And she's also starting a Zumba podcast where she's a Zumba teacher. She's a trilingual teacher. She teaches English, Spanish, and I forget what else. She's trilingual. She's a teacher. She does Zumba. She's going to bring Zumba instructors and Zumba students on to share their story about what Zumba does for them, and just it's a really good vibe show. Like I think it's just all good vibes. When it comes to Kala, I love Kala. She's been nothing but good vibes. She's a great interviewer. I watched a lot of her shows when I was first podcasting because she does a lot of really good questions when it comes to a personal interview. If you guys haven't checked out the Game Changers, definitely check that out. She took May and June off. She's back tomorrow. She's got huge guests lined up all the way through the end of the year. Looking forward to that. Thursday night. Why am I drawing a blank? We have Addison Hayes on Thursday Checkdown.
Addison Hayes, one of the original GOAT District League members. Ask him about that.
I will. I'm glad you brought that up, man. I'm gonna have to DM you, and
he was.
I'm gonna make you give me 5 questions to ask him. You DM me 5 questions to ask him because Rick already made the show sheet because he's been clutch with that the last few weeks. And he told me to go over it. I looked over it today. He was like, add questions to it. I was like, I'll come up with something. And there you go. JD, give me a handful of questions to ask Addison.
For sure.
I love it. This is working out so great, man. I'm so glad that I decided to dive into this podcasting thing. I've been meeting so many great people. This is so good.
Yeah, fantasy football makes a lot of friends. Worldwide.
Yeah, a lot of great friends, man. Yeah. I wish that there was a way that we could have connected 20 years ago, really. 25, 30 years ago.
It's a great community, man. I always say, when Dan and I were on, I talked about it. Dan's like one of my best friends, and I met him, through FFPC, through fantasy, and we've been doing shows together. I haven't met a person that's not, friendly or open to doing whatever it is. You want to chat, you want to talk poker, you want them to come on your show. You want to help you with some tech issues. It doesn't matter what
family,
it is.
Family, kids, daughters, girls, girl dad advice, single dad advice. Joey raised kids that wasn't his. I know all about that. My dad married, my mom was married twice. My brother is my stepbrother. We came from the same mom, but I know what that what that's all about, what kind of effort goes into that. So everybody is such a great person, and we can all relate to each other. We all pick each other up. It's really fantastic.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me on, Joe. Appreciate it. If you guys are into high stakes, if you're into best ball, if you're into live drafts, Dan Williamson and myself, the Overhyped Sleeper, we do the GOAT District once a week. This week we had it off, which is why I'm on the show. We actually have Andrew Cooper coming on next Friday afternoon. We have a special Friday afternoon live show at 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check that out. You can check me out on the Draft Room Baller YouTube channel, on TikTok, and on the X Machine, of course. But Joey, man, blast to meet you for sure.
You too,
and Joe, it's always a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Definitely check out JD. He's the very first podcast I listened to, and it doesn't get much better. He is the sole reason why I was like, maybe I can do this thing. You know what I mean?
For sure you can. For sure. Dude, you're crushing poker tables like it's nothing. So come on, this is nothing for you.
And one thing that's been constant is our conversation since we've been acquainted, and I appreciate your friendship, brother.
Yeah, same, man. Same, for sure. And you guys, Joey, are you in the fishbowl?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, nice.
I had the first pick. I took Homer pick. I took Josh Allen. Came back.
You got to take Josh Allen. Come on. One thing about the fishbowl is you got to take your guys, especially this year. There's no positional. You know what I mean?
I always want to do good, but it's more about charity. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's all fun.
Glad to be part of it.
If you guys are in SFB 15, I'm actually putting a video. That's what I was supposed to do tonight, but I'm putting a video together, like a quick guide, just some tools, some tips and tricks and that kind of thing. Websites that you guys can check out, all that kind of stuff. There's some tools online that you might not know about. So if you're new to SFB 15, look out on the Draft Room Baller channel. I'll be dropping a video in the next day or two.
I will.
You should do that anyway. JD is my favorite listener.
No, he's awesome. He always was.
Thanks,
I'm glad
guys.
he's still doing it again.
One thing I learned from JD is bring on the best guests you possibly can.
That's exactly it. See, Joe knows what's up, man. Joe knows what's up. Bring on people that are smarter than you that you want to learn from. You know what I mean? And the rest will work out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could chime in some of your intelligent thoughts along the way. I love it.
For sure.
All right, we're gonna close up shop. We're gonna get out of here. Appreciate everybody in the chat again. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Go on YouTube if you're listening on X. When you log off, just go on YouTube and hit the damn button. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. Doesn't take all that much effort. Doesn't cost any money, and it helps us out a lot. So appreciate everybody chiming in. Hope you took a lot of knowledge from this show. I had a great time. Joe, good night. JD, good night. Audience, check ya later.
Check you later.
Later. Yeah, do it, JD.
Check you all